going for the gold in that respect of the word here as we look at rookie Feng-Li Shuan, one of the few rookies in this race today. Just up ahead of him is Ryan Callahan, another one of the rookies. Feng-Li has not had the greatest of starts to his rookie campaign, driving for Aubert Racing in the number 43 machine. And his best finish of the season so far, he's raced 2 out of the 4 races that we've done. This will be his third. He finished 23rd on debut and then 12th. So things looking a little bit better in terms of finishing results and in the future here, as he did end up finishing 12th. There was a disqualification, and he was able to, capitalize on a few of the accidents that happened throughout the day. But obviously, still, that's a day that they needed. And the 15 machine is on his in lap. I want to say that is Alec Bishop in the 15 car. Or he's off the pace. Something might be happening with that car. And here's another rookie on a very, very fast lap right now. Yeah, that was the fastest first sector that we've seen out of anybody today so far. Coming down the back stretch, and Alec Bishop is going to try his best not to impede this fast lap by the 64 machine. Lost a little bit in the middle section there, in the middle sector, excuse me. All the way to the outside curb, and out of the final corner, the 15 is going to come to the side and to the line. It'll be interesting to see what we see. And second place. How about that for Ryan Callahan? Wow. Impressive from the rookie. We talked earlier about this is Q1. Going into the Fast 6, Ryan Callahan qualifies 6th out of 25 drivers, of course, starting the race. This is the first time that his team, Team Black and Yellow, has been to the Fast 6 for 2 years now, since 2014 at the B Sports Megaplex was the last time that they went to Q2. And he has an opportunity at getting the team's best starting spot just after this, as we see that final decision being made by the stewards there, as Alec Bishop qualifies 18th. Feng-Li Shuan in 11th, but we heard problems on that car, so not sure if we'll be able to keep it. But yeah, a grid penalty tomorrow for Alec Bishop, so that'll likely put him at the very, very back. Or no, it's just a one-place grid penalty, so 19th, not terrible, but he's not going to be appreciative of that one. So can Pete Everest make something happen here? Breaking into the final corner and goes to third. That's not what he'll want, I'm sure. Out of the final corner for Nick White, goes to third. Takes that spot away from Pete Everest. And down into the final corner. This is the Cinderella story. And to P3 for the 64 machine. How about that? And that will come across the line, and the 61 will not improve his position. So how about that? Hakkano on pole, but the 64 of Ryan Callahan takes the 4th spot. It's always good to see Cinderella stories like this, because this team, not the fastest team of all time. It's been a fairly inconsistent start to the season for Ryan so far. He's already got a top 10 under his belt as well as a top 15, but 2 DNFs the last 2 races, not how he wants to, start out his season. I'm sure that this is going to be a huge shot in the arm that this team needs, as well as this driver needs as a whole. A great job by those 2 today, and hopefully we see them at the front tomorrow. The pace car will pull off of the road, this time by And we are racing here in Austria. Green flag is in the air. And we are underway. Side by side for the lead down the front stretch. Who will be deeper into the brakes? Will it be pole sitter Naomi Hakkano? Will it be Giorgio Bartocci? The Italian veteran around the outside. Some contact between the top two. And here comes Ryan Callahan. What a cracking start as he gets ahead of the 97 of Nick White as they battle behind. Oh, and a big crash in corner number 1, and that will likely already bring out the full course caution. It's been a very short amount of time since we started this race. Can't even get through one lap there, and that is a big crash. It looks like contact between the 36 of Colin Lucas and the 49 of Brad Stonturk. And it looks to me like there's also damage on the 04. Yes, there's damage on the 04 of Kettrick Maxon. And there is all the damage on the number 49 machine. The right side suspension completely KO'd. I believe the left front is also as bad, if not worse. And here's on board the 36 machine. And we see another car off pace here. That is the 43 of Feng-Li Shuan. Oh boy. And that car doesn't look like it has any damage on it. So I'd say that that is possibly an engine issue. We talked about them yesterday having issues in qualifying with their electrical. It caused them to have a 5-place grid penalty. Or excuse me, a 10-place grid penalty. And that put them down in 21st starting position. And obviously, they didn't want to start from there, and their weekend has gone from bad to worse in a hurry. So here's a quick replay. This is after the lap 1 crash has already happened here, so we'll get a replay of that in a moment. But Kettrick Maxon, and there was another car there that got away from it. But those two continue on. The 43 of Feng-Li Shuan still under power here. We heard it cut out a bit as it was going up the hill. And right there you can hear it downshifting, but I'm not sure if there's any power being put to the wheels. Because it seems like it just completely sputters out and gets onto the side of the road. And that is actually, funnily enough, what ends up bringing out the caution, as our scoring monitor here says caution 43 car, and not the 36 that was stopped in turn number 1. Or the 49 who is limping his car around the racetrack. So, regardless, the full course caution out after that incident down the front stretch. So let's see if we can get another look here. Down the front stretch, a bad start from the 49 at Brad Stonturk. And the 43 pulls off, and that's 4 wide down the front stretch here at Austria. That's not going to work out. In contact between, Kettrick Maxon. And hard contact together into corner number 1. Absolutely zero way for Brad Stonturk to go in that situation, and he was an innocent bystander in that one. Let's see another look here as they come down the front stretch. And that's Ellen, that's Ellen Ide on the outside in the 48 machine. So there's potential for both of the fast track motorsports cars to be caught up in this one. But I believe Ellen Ide, out of the 5 cars that were in here, was the only one not to have an issue. So down the front stretch here, you see the 43 is already having his issue. He's pulling off to the side. He knows that his car is not going to be fast on the restart. And this puts them 4 wide down the front stretch. That is Ide, on the outside. The 36, the green and black machine, is Colin Lucas, and the 04 is Kettrick Maxon. And you're going to see down the front stretch here, if we speed it up for a second. Right here, Kettrick is going to squeeze up. I don't think he knows that the 48 car is on the outside. And the two make a little bit of contact right here. That ends up hooking the 36 as he comes across the racetrack. Nowhere for the 36, like nothing that the 36 could do in that situation. As he spins towards the inside wall, there's going to be some heavy contact there with the guardrail on the inside, and then the car is going to carry itself back across the racetrack and straight into the path of the unsuspecting Brad Stonturk, who has nowhere to go, and ends up nailing the right side of the 36 machine and then bouncing off of him and into the outside wall. Some pretty heavy impacts in that crash. Luckily, we saw the 49 actually drive his car back to the pits and the 36, Colin Lucas, got out of his car, and we saw that earlier. So great to see that those guys were able to get out of their cars on their own power, and hopefully they're all right after that one. So give a good look at the restart. Pretty clean all the way back. The 85 gets a bad start. They're 3 wide, and then they're 4 wide back here. And that's where the contact happens. There's the 36 into the inside wall, and oh, that's a brutal hit for Brad Stonturk in the 49 machine. Let's go on board here. This is the point of view of a sandwich. Through the middle goes Colin Lucas there, so that was a bit of an opportunistic move. And he's side by side with Elenide, trying to make up spots in the first couple of corners there. Oh, and that is the big hit there. Nowhere for Brad Stonturk to go. Let's go on board with Brad through this one. Just gets a bad restart. I'm not entirely sure what caused that, but this would be a great view. There they are, 4 wide, and then right here, the 04, I don't know what he's trying to do. He might be trying to pinch or what, but that is a hefty impact into the wall. A multi-car pileup on the front stretch at the start of the race brings out the yellow flag for the first time today. We'll be back after this. So, as we work lap 22 here, Giorgio Bartocci continues to lead, and as we talked about earlier in the race, the pit window is going to be within 20 to 25 laps here, so they can still absolutely push it. We saw people push it last year. It didn't particularly end the greatest. The car that pushed it the longest was the 64 machine, who actually led a few laps up at the front. It was a great day for Team Black and Yellow, just as it is today. Ryan Callahan still hanging tough in the 3rd spot right now, but the 64 ended up staying out so long that he was caught up to by the rest of the drivers that were on the pit cycle that had already pitted, and ended up losing a lap to those guys. So that I doubt we'll see anybody try and push it that long here. And I bet that we'll start to see pit stops within the next few laps here, as Ryan Callahan right on the rear end of the 71 machine of Naomi Hakkano as they head down the backstretch here. Within a few inches of each other, here comes the lunge down the inside. It's going to be close. Not enough of a move there yet, though. Oh, and the 71 goes wide. And here comes Ryan Callahan to take the 2nd spot away from 7-time champ Naomi Hakkano and current points leader. What a move by the 64 machine that puts him into the 2nd spot in the race. And Naomi's going to want to get that one back, I have a feeling. Giorgio Bartocci still leading the race, though, as the 71 pulling off some pretty crazy lines around the outside there. Ryan Callahan now in the 2nd spot. And here they come. Was that the 64 coming in? No, it was not. Oh, but there's the 38. The 38 is coming in, so pit cycles are now underway. Oh, and the 64 into the grass a little bit. I don't think that lost him any time, though. But regardless, the pit cycles are underway as the 38 makes his stop, his first stop of the day on lap 23. And this will be interesting to see for sure. Will they both come in? Yes, they will. Our 2 leaders on lap 24, the 64 of Ryan Callahan and the 71 of Naomi Hakkano come to the pits. So our 2 leaders peel off, and it should be interesting to see the varying time there as Naomi pulls into her pit stop, or her pit slot, I should say, and the 64 pulls into his. And we're also going to have to watch to see where the 38 car is, and there he is on the track. So Giorgio Bartocci is retaking the lead, and a slow stop for the 64 of Callahan. And that means that he will likely be behind the 8 ball as they come out of the corner here, or excuse me, out of the pit lane. And that was not the stop that the Team Black and Yellow racing team wanted there for their 64 machine, as they come out much, much further away from the 71 than they would have likely wanted. Let's see your view if you're the 38 machine of Giorgio Bartocci, who tried to do the undercut by just one lap. But this is what one lap gets you. He already had about as much of a lead as he had when Naomi Hakkano came out of the pits. But regardless, that's a great stop by them. Great strategy call. And it keeps them their lead that they've wanted. And Lincoln Guno Racing has been on such a hot streak recently. Obviously, Pete Everest has been their top driver for a while, but they're finding solace in this 50-year-old veteran, Giorgio Bartocci here. So a great run for him today, absolutely dominating this race so far. Started on outside pole, or excuse me, inside pole in this case, and he's doing great so far. All right, this is the back of Ryan Callahan's car, as we see the pit stop difference here. 71 actually closes in a bit there on entry. Remember, it's a 60 mile/hour speed limit. So they come into the pits. And the 71's going to peel off right here. Gets into her pit stop. You're allowed 2 on entry. Or excuse me, 3 on entry. And by the time that Ryan Callahan's stop is ended, the 71 is already out. So that was an extremely fast pit stop from the 71 team. Great job by them to get their driver out ahead, but the 64 team is going to be kicking themselves for that one. They retain their podium placing, but they're going to think about what could have been there. But it's a long race, and there's still a high likelihood that they could gain it back, whether on track or on pit strategy later in the race, and try to redeem themselves after that little bit of a blunder on pit road. The best thing you can do in that situation is wait for your team to tell you that it's all good to go, because, you know, that's not one of the things that you really want to have happen to you on the track, and especially not when you're going down a straight, because that can be a major issue in terms of, you know, speed and performance. And we're seeing, oh, damage on Feng-Li Shuan's number 43 machine. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. And a huge crash down here. Ryan Callahan is one of the 2 machines running in the 3rd spot at the time of the yellow. And the full course caution is out, and that is dangerous there. We got a car on the side of the road absolutely burning up. Naomi Hakkano out of her car, that's good to see, but my goodness, I hope that Ryan is alright inside of that car. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot of movement from it yet, and there's not a lot of fire marshals around, and he's trying to get the passenger side door open. Oh my goodness, and that car is bursting into flames as Ryan Callahan bails out of the car, and that's the best view that we could see. And that is a very scary accident, evidently collecting 2 of the strongest cars today so far. Very early in the race for this type of accident to be happening, but let's take a look and see if we can deduce what happens here. So the leader, Giorgio Bartocci, has already gone by. Contact with, oh my goodness, what a hit. And another hard one into the inside wall for Ryan Callahan. And that is a scary, scary accident there. It looked like Naomi got turned by the 43 car, who was already 12 laps down from the electrical issue that he had at the beginning of the race. And that is one of the scariest accidents I think we've seen in quite a while here, especially with the fire on the 64 machine. Let's go on board with Naomi Hakkano here. Going around the outside of the 43 machine, Feng-Li Shuan, and contact. And that is a heavy hit for both vehicles. And after an agonizing 40 seconds, Ryan Callahan manages to sneak out of his car. Naomi gets out of her car very quickly, trying to get away from the scene of the accident and make sure she doesn't get piled into by anybody else arriving on the scene. Let's take another look at the replay from the outside. Contact between the 43 and 71, since the 71 towards the inside wall at a very acute angle bounces off of the Armco barrier at a very hard angle. Car gets up on its side, and then along comes the 64 with nowhere to go, runs straight into the left side door of Hakkano's car and sets itself ablaze. And look at all the damage on the 71 machine. As the 64 comes back across the racetrack. And this is a very heavy impact along the inside wall as well. Knocks the left front tire off of the race car as well as the splitter. And at this point, the car obviously has no steering. And he's just trying to get it slowed down so he can potentially get himself out of the race car. But the driver's side door is up against the outside wall. He can't do anything about that. And that's got to be one of the scariest feelings, trying to, or being trapped in a race car that is set ablaze like that. And, you know, you're not able to get out of the door that you normally have to. You're going to have to climb over fire and hot metal to get to the door that, or to get access to the door that, you know, you have to go to get out of the race car. That is not the ideal situation there. Let's go on board here. This is the 64, Ryan Callahan. It's a dangerous straightaway because obviously things like this can and have happened and will happen again and again. But I mean, whenever you see something like that happen in front of you, it just shocks you. And it's obviously very lucky to see both drivers involved in that accident get out of the cars on their own power. But obviously we're hoping and we're giving our thoughts and our prayers for Ryan Callahan and his family, as well as Naomi and hers, as we haven't really heard a lot on her, but we did see her get out of the car, so we're assuming that she's okay, of course. But you know, impacts like that are never fun as well, so that is a accident that hopefully we won't have to see again for a very long time. One more look at it. Around the outside goes Hakkano. 43 and her make contact, and that is some heavy contact. The red flag still out on the racetrack. We'll be back after this massive crash is cleaned up. And after a lengthy delay, the green flag is back in the air and we are back racing here in Austria. Giorgio Bartocci resumes the lead side by side behind him for the second spot across the line. That's the 12 of Darren von Schmitz as the 85 moves under braking, trying to retain that spot. But Pete Everest falls back to third after the initial restart. Darren von Schmitz in the 12 machine trying to hold on to that spot. But the 85 is really tucked in close behind him right here, as he's looking for the outside as they head up the hill. The 12's not going to have the line that he wants into the corner, and around the outside goes the 85. Oh, and he's going to pinch, and off the racetrack goes the number 12. We'll have to see what the stewards think about that. But the 85 slots through, for now at least, into the second spot. So here's what happened a moment ago. This is the 82 machine, the KSS Brouwer entry for Ben Stevenson, and down into the corner here. He's gonna get under braking, loses it. Oof, does he hit the wall? Not sure if he does or not, but he gets very close, and right here he's gonna have to do a little bit of off-road driving as he makes his excursion through the sand trap and onto the access road and saves his car from at least maximum damage that it could have acquired in that crash. As his younger sister, Carrie, moves up through the ranks in the open wheel divisions. Here's another look at what happened to Ben Stevenson down in the braking zone. Car breaks loose from him. No contact with the outside wall. Very good save. But ends up just going a little bit wide and has no choice but to drive right through the gravel trap. Thinks about going back onto the racetrack and then says, I'm closer to the access road. Let's get back on here, and he's able to continue on without a scratch on that car. Working lap number 41 now, as Giorgio Bartocci has extended his lead to over 15 seconds on the car behind him. As we come down the front stretch here, there's a car slow on the racetrack, and that looks like Feng-Li Shuan in the 43 machine. And on the side of the road, and that might be another yellow flag because he did not get to the pits, and he's not coming in there as there's still cars coming by on the racetrack. So Feng, already with documented electrical issues, was involved in that terrifying crash on lap 25, and now is coming to a stop on the side of the road. Full course caution is back out. And Feng, looks like that'll be the end of the day for him as he steps out of his vehicle. With still over 50 laps left in this race, and Feng pulling over to the side very smartly as the leader goes by. Just right here, gonna try and hold his line, and then goes to the outside to make sure he's not in the way. Although he could have pulled in to the pits behind him there, but there's not too many openings that are available on the racetrack, so that may have been a bit of a stretch there. But regardless, that will take him out of contention and put him likely behind the wall. As we see the 43 car being loaded onto the hauler. Obviously the red flag has come out, and we're getting word why. And personally, this is one of the hardest announcements I've ever had to make on live TV here. But on that terrible crash and up the hill headed into turn number 2 on lap 25, we've unfortunately lost 7-time champion Naomi Hakkano. Now, due to that out of the blue news, as a cause of that, we're under the red flag conditions, and we're getting word that the race will end here. They're not going any further, and we believe we're being told that Giorgio Bartocci will be your winner for today. And it's unfortunate. It was such a dominant day for him today, and it's unfortunate that it has to come to an end like this. I'm sure there won't be a very big celebration down there in the pits. It's a very, very difficult situation that we have unfolding down here. Of course, thoughts and prayers to the Hakkano family right now, and there's not much more to say. So there is your winner of today's race, Giorgio Bartocci. That is for Team Lincoln Guno Racing. First time that 38 car has won in a couple of years here. And man, I'm struggling to find the words to describe what's going through our minds right now up here in the booth. But Naomi Hakkano, obviously one of the most talented drivers of our generation, 7-time champion within just a decade, and you know, losses like this, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real, and I have the utmost respect for her and her career up to this point, and that is obviously some of the harshest news that we've ever had to broadcast to you right now. Ryan Callahan currently in hospital in stable condition, which under any other circumstance would be fantastic news, but obviously a damper on it right now, and Giorgio Bartocci is your winner of today's race. Down the straightaway, this is the battle for the second spot right now. Naomi Hakkano being hounded a bit by the 64 machine of Ryan Callahan. Oh, and there's contact hard into the wall and bouncing off each other. Big crash and into the wall hard, and on fire is the 64 of Ryan Callahan. Unbelievable crash as they come across the racetrack. Contact with Feng-Li Shuan, the lapped car, the 43 machine. Huge, huge accident. And that is a very, very disturbing sight. The 64 machine on the side of the road, ablaze at the moment. And we certainly hope that everything is alright down there. Massive contact into the outside wall for Naomi Hakkano, and then rebounded back across the racetrack. And there you see, oh my goodness, fireballs erupting still from the 64 machine as he clambers out under his own power. And there the marshals are to try and extinguish the flame. Obviously a horrible, horrible accident down here involving these two race cars. Let's hope that they're alright. And obviously a very, very heavy impact here as Naomi trying to block off the 43 machine as the 43 comes up the racetrack. The two make contact. That's a big racing deal. Massive contact into the Aramco barrier and rebounds the 71 machine back across the racetrack, and right there, that is a heavy lick up into the air there for a second for the 71 machine. And look at the damage on the left side door of the 71. So thankful to see Naomi get out of that car on her own power. Damage on the 43 as well, the left front corner, and the 64. Look at this impact into the Aramco on the other side of the racetrack with the hood completely up as flames erupting inside of the vehicle. And that is obviously the scariest thing to see out of this entire race, or out of this entire crash, is to see that flame on the inside of the race car. You never want to see that. And Ryan tries his best to get the car to the side of the road, and evidently that's not going to work out for him as it comes to a complete stop on the racetrack. You can see wheels from Hakkano's car assumingly rolling by this vehicle, rolling up the hill. That shows you the sheer momentum of the crash that occurred. And very, very serious crash there. Ouais, c'est là. Je pense que c'est la numéro 38 qui est avec l'espace ici. Oh, le contact! Oh là 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 là! Oh, mon Dieu! Un grand crachage qui s'est passé avec Naomi Hakkano. Et je pense que l'autre est... Oh non, c'est le 64. Alors, la deuxième voiture sur la course et aussi le troisième a fait tête à queue. Et ça, ce n'est pas qu'est-ce qu'on veut voir. Oh mon Dieu, avec beaucoup de feu.